Thank you, guys. Good stuff there. Fox News Alert and good morning on this Tuesday, the 1st of October. We are 1 hour into the launch of Obamacare. There are reports of problems. Now, this is the website, healthcare.gov, where many will head today. Millions over the next couple of months to sign up for Obamacare. Error messages now being reported on the federally run website for Obamacare. More on this as it develops throughout the morning, something we'll watch all day. As Obamacare opens for business, your government is closing. Lawmakers failing to cut a deal, forcing a government shutdown as of midnight last night.
The House has made its position known very clearly. We believe that we should fund the government, and we think there ought to be basic fairness for all Americans under Obamacare. The Senate has continued to reject our offers.
We will not go to conference with a gun to our head. The first thing that the House has to do is pass a clean 6-week CR. They have that before them. They can do it right now.
There's a certain irony going on
You
across this
think?
country today.
You think?
I'm Bill Hemmer. Welcome here to America's Newsroom. We've got plenty to go through.
We
Good
sure
morning,
do.
Martha.
Good morning, Bill. Good morning, everybody. I'm Martha McCallum. So it should be an interesting day, right? The healthcare exchange is up and running, and as the president himself predicted, we've got some glitches this morning in that. Both sides have now taken part in Congress, on the left-hand side of your screen, of shuttering the government.
I talked to the president earlier tonight. I'm not going to negotiate. I'm not going to negotiate. We're not going to do this. Well, I would say to the president, this is not about me. And it's not about Republicans here in Congress. It's about fairness for the American people. Why don't we make sure that every American is treated just like we are?
Einstein was a genius, but it doesn't take a genius to figure out that the proof is watching the House Republicans, because they've lost their minds. They keep trying to do the same thing over and over again.
To suggest that somebody can sit at the other side of this building and say, do it my way or no way at all, and if you won't play by my rules, then the shutdown is on you, is appalling to me.
All right, now there's going to be a lot of reaction throughout the day. Many of you were sleeping last night. We'll bring that to you. Part of what Republicans are arguing is that the government should not get the subsidies for Obamacare that millions of Americans do not get. Doug McElway leading our coverage on the Hill this morning. And where does Congress go now? Doug, good morning.
Well, Bill, that process has already begun. It appears that we're picking up right where we left off, with more infighting, more gridlock, and more intransigence. Shortly after the stroke of midnight last night, and the government was technically in shutdown mode, the House Republicans held a press conference in which they announced this new strategy to form a conference committee and produce a continuing resolution that they could iron out the differences between the House and the Senate versions that would be palatable to all. Here's Speaker Boehner speaking in the wee hours of the morning.
Under the Constitution, there's a way to resolve this process, and that is to go to conference and talk through your differences. And I would hope that the Senate would accept our offer to go to conference and discuss this so that we can resolve this for the American people.
Well, it didn't take very long for Senate Democrats to throw a very, very wet blanket on that idea. Here's Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid also speaking in the early morning hours.
They've got some jerry-rigged thing about going to conference. It's, Madam President, it is embarrassing that these people who are elected to represent the country are representing the Tea Party, the anarchists of the country, and the majority of the Republicans in the House are following every step of the way. This is an unnecessary blow to America.
This suggests that the shutdown may last longer than many people are expecting, may last longer than a few days. Who takes the blame is the bigger question here. Remember, when the sequester first took effect, there was all kinds of alarmism about the devastating consequences of the sequester, alarmism that ultimately proved to be untrue. It remains to be seen whether that is also the case with the government shutdown.
All right, we're going to show our viewers the counter in a moment here. It's October 1 now, around October 17. You've got the debt limit. We're bumping up against that. We hear there are more signs of trouble with that, Doug. What do you have this morning?
Yeah, and we got the latest signs of that trouble in an interview that the president did with National Public Radio just this morning. He told National Public Radio that he will not negotiate with Republicans over the debt limit. He went even farther than that. He said that any attempts to try to negotiate with the Republicans would allow him, would subject him, I should say, and any future president to be blackmailed by the GOP. Blackmail, very, very harsh term to use under these circumstances, Bill, and an indication of just how far apart, how gridlocked this city is.
You got it. It's going to be an interesting month. October, boy, a lot of surprises in October. Thank you, Doug McKelway. We will check in with you when we get more headlines from the Hill up there. Martha has more now.
Okay.
Well, that war of words did not end when the lawmakers left Capitol Hill last night, as some of them took the battle to Twitter, as is the way things always work right now. So take a look at what was tweeting out there last night. President Obama saying, quote, "They actually did it. A group of Republicans in the House just forced a government shutdown over Obamacare instead of passing a real budget." While House Speaker John Boehner seemed to blame a different government body. This is what he was tweeting last night in the wee hours. He said, quote, "Senate Democrats chose to shut down the government rather than discuss the failures of hashtag Obamacare."
So no deal in place, and the federal government's forced shutdown will send more than about 800,000 federal workers home without pay. Many will have just hours to wrap things up before they are sent home. They'll be barred from using official smartphones or working as long as the budget impasse persists. Here is what will be affected. All national parks are closed, along with Washington's Smithsonian Museum complex and the National Zoo. Passport offices closed. You won't be able to get a passport. Loans from the Federal Housing Administration will not be available. What will not be affected? Social Security and Medicare. Those checks still go out on time. Post offices, they stay open. The mail gets delivered. Active duty military stay on the job, although it's possible their paychecks could be delayed.